Yes, I still have 5 more for that, just on that part. They won't decide that. So it's down there. So I can see you all I go to my across the way.
Folks, again, we're live streaming here, both visually and audio. Permanent record of that kept, you can get to and access any time at your leisure. It's at Robeson Review. Have any of you gone on the website, checked out the agenda? Yeah. Good. I'd like to see those agenda get posted a little sooner. We've got a couple of concerns in that area, and hopefully we'll be able to work that out.
You do that.
At 7 o'clock, we call the August workshop meeting to order at 7 o'clock. We do pledge allegiance and moment of silence for all military personnel. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ron here. Like we did last month, if you don't mind, we'll go down to Park and Rec section and do Scout Troop number 529 with the unit leader in the Scout Will 10. So, could you introduce yourself and all that nice stuff?
All right. Okay, so I'm going to first hand you my proposal here if you guys want to pass this around. But my name is Joe Cool. I am from Troop 529. I'm a Life Scout. And I'm here to present to you guys my Eagle project for the Gibraltar Park just down the road. Basically, I am going to pressure wash, or I'll sum it up and then get into a little more detail. I'm going to refurbish the dugouts and then the snack shack, since in my opinion they could use that. I think they look a lot better if I could have the opportunity to do so. And basically, I'm going to pressure wash both dugouts and snack shack inside and out, and then repaint them. And then with the snack shack, there's some rotting boards that I would recess and then replace with another board and then paint over that. And with the dugouts, the benches are rotting as well, so I would take those out and replace all of them, and I would fill in the ground with some rock of sort, probably smaller, like crushed up rock. Yeah, I think that's it. Any questions?
No, well, that's.
Did you mention start date?
I'm working on that, but I would like to start sometime soon. I do have, the next 3 weekends I have looked at are very open for me to start. I would like to start as soon as possible though.
Everything in the materials, you're seeking donations?
Yes,
Again, the cost.
yeah, so
You get anywhere with them?
I have. So with the rock, the local, I think it's Arters, really good friends with the family, and I know that his brother actually built the dugouts, so I talked with him to see if I could have some donations there, and he said they could work out or something out there.
So you have your own power wash machine or somebody's providing that too?
I do. And then with the paint, I also got to Dan Hoff, and he said he's providing my paint for me, so.
And the wood for the benches and everything, you got all that too?
I needed to talk with you about that whenever I'm ready.
So this was also, some of this work was also pre-approved with the Parks and Rec proposal that they had put in as part of the park refurbishing at the same time that Joe was bringing this proposal to me. So I kind of got, the two together to make sure that they can talk, and with him be able to take lead on providing the labor and taking the planning out of this and working closely with Parks and Rec. It's utilizing what they already have approved and then the funds to cover whenever he couldn't get in donations to be able to make sure we have everything we need.
So could you start Saturday? Can you say you want to start as soon as you can?
I could, yes.
I mean, it looks like after tonight and tomorrow, Saturday is all nice and pretty out there. I mean, happy work, yeah, if you're making the playground better and the field and the dugouts and everything, make it all better and look good and have a better function and obviously have a better visual presentation, that'd be great, and if you got donations, that's even better.
Is it just you, or you can have some help?
I'll definitely have help.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So if you're getting your Eagle Scout stuff, what are they getting for helping?
Usually pizza.
They get you guys hot
Is the water on Mr. Redding, or can be made to be on? You got a problem with that?
We can make it beyond, yeah, fine. But that hydrant does still leak, but we need to. it's one of those
You'll
things
need the
that-
hydrant with your pressure washing, and it's right there at the third base dugout.
I checked earlier when we were seeing, because I wanted to see if there's any other places for water that I could access. To my knowledge, it's on.
Okay, so it is on.
Yeah.
It's leaking and we had actually turned it off, you
Yeah,
informed us it was
we had
leaking, so
turned
we
it
turned it
off.
off to save the water in the meantime, and then we'll turn that back on if the time is right for you, so you just need to let us know.
Okay. I can,
So you truly think you're starting Saturday?
I can, yeah.
I guess Rich, then you gotta, whatever.
One other thing, if it can, I don't know, I mean, if you already have something with orders, that's great, but we have a great deal of the sweepings that come up from when we do the oil and chip. And it's, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with it, it's all gravel as you're talking about, pretty small stuff, so,
That'd be easier in my opinion.
yeah, it's up to the, I mean, it just sits
Since
there.
forever up to him, he's the project manager.
We mix, we mix it in with the millings when we go to backup roads, but there's an abundance up there, and I don't think it's gonna take a whole lot to do the dugouts.
Who would I go for that then?
I will give you my contact information, and just let me know around about how much you're looking at,
Okay.
and I'll, we'll see if there's a little pile down there for you.
Joe, where in the process would you like to do that? Is that early on, or is that a little bit later on after you've done some of the additional work?
I plan I plan to do the woodworking at the end, so
Okay.
probably after I'm done painting.
Okay, alright, so that gives you a
That'll
few
actually
weeks
work,
out.
because we're pretty busy with milling patches.
So we've got some
And
things.
tomorrow you're gonna be busy with other things, so.
Yeah.
Maybe tonight.
No, that sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you for coming here and doing that for us.
We wanna continue on with the rest of the park and rec. Right here.
Sure, now well, Mr. Steve.
I just got, do we know if there's any scheduled games here this weekend?
I had checked, to my knowledge, there's nothing other than pavilion rentals.
And the soccer games are down at the municipal field. But not on the community calendar, there was nothing.
You're there tomorrow, just double checking with Sheila, she's been, has a good job keeping up the calendar with that, but again, just always good thing to double check with her, okay?
All right, now you can stay unless you wanna head home early, or it's up to you what you wanna do. Don't feel guilty.
Feel free, not a chance.
Yeah.
Why don't we head out and let's talk about what you wanna get done on Saturday?
Yeah,
Can I get your contact
Yep.
information?
Great idea.
Hurry up.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Item one, Mr. Chairman, continuing with the park and rec.
Yeah, if you want, that's all right, we're down there.
This is some branches that came down, it's referring to letter A. My understanding is that we had an emergency situation, that's what I certainly thought this board deemed it as, and while it's nice to get a quote from Mr. Spar, the fact that the,
Is this a tree too?
Work's
Picture-
not
Is this the
done.
picture from the same tree from the picture?
yeah, that's after the branches came down.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying, this was a picture of the tree you showed us last meeting.
Correct. So, you know, we need to be more proactive with solving our problems, or we're gonna pay a price.
Do we have any
I'm not-
update on when he might be?
I do not, Barry might have an update on that, however, I did speak to him, that's $2,100 quote. I'd actually like us to perhaps look at the August 20th meeting, to discuss our ability within the budget, to execute these, with approval authorities.
I'm not sure what that means, but budget or no budget, when we have an emergency situation, I don't understand why this isn't done. Our road crew has taken down other trees.
Did you talk to Spars about the trees you brought over after the last meeting, or?
I did, yeah, I got
Do you know when he?
whenever it's approved, he's told me he could do it pretty quick, being the nature of the tree and.
Well, it was approved at last month's meeting and we're not getting anywhere. The other item has to do, at least on my thought process, has to do with the basketball court. I see that someone's going to be, there's what it looks like, fellas, and why this board would pay a bill when something's left in that condition is beyond me. It's a regulation high school court, it makes absolutely no sense. Do you have a date when they'll be back?
So is it, I know we talked about this before, are we sure that the out of bounds, because when I played there, you know, whatever, all those years ago, I thought the out of bounds was the grass. And there
There were
was
out of bounds markers on it, and I played there extensively, Chris.
Yeah,
But I mean, look how the end lines end, they're not even lined up.
But is the out of bounds truly the grass? or-
Yeah, it's right before the grass, I've measured it, I don't understand why this is so difficult. It's mind boggling. Look at the other picture with the pickleball court, look at the net. Now, you know,
Well, that's just the volleyball court, right? Because doesn't pickleball
no,
court
it's a
have-
pickleball court.
Is it, but I know it's a pickleball court, but is that a truly pickleball net? Because I know the people that do pickleball get all crazy about pickleball and there's specific nets.
So if we're gonna make it into a pickleball court, then why not put a pickleball net there?
Oh, I agree, but I'm assuming this is probably the volleyball net that was left over, correct? Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, when I'm talking to people that do pickleball, I don't play pickleball, but I know a lot of people have their own
Bring their own
nets,
nets.
and they have their own
Balls
everything, and
and the paddles as well at the same time.
that's a big business now and stuff, but I agree, I mean, if, we gotta decide if we're gonna provide the net, or if we're gonna anticipate people bringing their own nets. I don't know, I mean, that's, since I don't play football, I don't know what people normally wanna do.
Well, if it's a volleyball net, it looks like heck. it's hanging down. If it's not a volleyball net, then take it down. We have money in the budget for the Parks and Rec, and yet,
You want to see what a true pickleball net costs?
Go back to the tree branch now. I was just rereading the minutes, it said there was an agreement to contact Spar. I understand, was approval given to just pay whatever needed to be paid to have it done? I don't have it in front of me.
my recollection, Mr. Gullo, is that we deemed this an emergency,
Right, no,
so
I
it's not
understand.
on the agenda. And my interpretation was that it needs to be taken down right away.
So I guess we'll clarify, the manager has a spending limit, correct?
Correct,
And what is that?
$500.
Oh, we did, the
So-
minutes, didn't we approve the cost? Or we
No,
didn't, we
not
said there was.
No, so,
Section approval cost.
well, I'm not siding here, I'm just saying, we approved it to be done, it came in at 2,100. The manager has $500 spending limit, there's kind of a contradiction there, could he approve that?
There are no
Without getting-
contradictions.
There is, because you're
There's
gonna
no
jump them if you spend it.
We authorized work to be done, it's an emergency situation, and it's not done, we're just gonna
I
drag
don't
out
think
money.
we
When
worded
someone gets hurt,
The
or
motion
worse,
that way.
then it's gonna be a problem.
Then why don't we just, somebody make a motion to reaffirm?
I'm saying we need to be
Yeah.
clearer at that
Yeah.
moment to Rich,
Yes.
Rich, get it done. That $500 spending limit is now void because it's an emergency go. That's where I'm at. I understand both sides of it. I just feel like Rich kind of backed it. Whoop, it's above my authority, and that's why we're here. It's just
Then
something
he
to
reaches,
clarify.
out if something's above his authority and gets it done.
And he
This
can't
is a do
be
nothing,
how.
this
He
is a
can't
do
do that
nothing
between
board.
meetings.
What do you mean how?
He
We
can't do
had
it
a
between
vote.
meetings.
Yeah, but if he sends an email to get a vote, then you're gonna complain about that, but we can't vote an email, you guys are violating this or violating that.
I'm on both sides of this. I'm centering
I
myself.
mean, if you would've spent that $2,100
I
on that board
understand.
approval,
I
you would've had a problem.
No,
Guarantee you
no,
that.
no, don't
Because you
tell
have a
me
problem
what
with
I would have a
everything
problem with.
You
No,
would've,
don't have-
because you
don't
have a
tell me.
problem with everything
No,
else.
don't tell me.
I'll
what
tell
problem.
you.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I
Don't tell
will.
me anything.
I'll tell you.
You won't tell
Yeah.
me nothing,
Well, how about,
fella.
how about?
This was an
someone-
emergency.
Yeah, we didn't approve
And you
to
didn't
spend
do
it.
it. And
We
it
didn't
didn't get
approve to
done.
spend, I didn't do it?
It didn't get done.
You
We have
just
a road
said,
crew that
you
goes
just said
with
you
the
didn't
road
do
crew.
it.
All
You
right.
just referred to me and said you
Township
didn't do it.
didn't do
Yeah.
it.
Well, I will.
The
Reword
township
that,
didn't do
reword
it.
that.
I will-
Okay, the township didn't do
Yeah.
it.
I will
When
make-
somebody
Use your words
falls,
properly.
when somebody gets hurt, then we'll see where we're at.
I'm gonna make a motion to reaffirm that we approve the removal of dead trees and limbs at Gibraltar Park at a cost of
Contradicting everything.
$2,100. So I just made a motion to reaffirm
I
all that
will
and get done as
second
soon as
that
possible.
motion right now.
So we got a motion, we got a second, roll call. Mr.
Hold
Goldberg.
on, let's talk about that 1 second.
talk,
Rather
motion on
than,
the table.
rather
Second.
than, and this is when
Your
we
vote.
talk about it. This is when we talk about it.
Second
Now
already,
there's
there was a second already.
Yeah, and now we talk about it.
Now
It's
it's just
called
roll
Robert's
call.
Rules of Evidence.
Call roll call.
No, I wanna talk about it, Mr. Smith.
Well, we're.
What we're talking about is why do you wanna authorize Mr. Spar when we don't know when he can do it? I called him on the phone and asked him.
You just complained that we
You
didn't do
just
it.
complained about
How
it.
Now you're
about-
stopping us
How
from
about
doing
at
it.
the same time, we make a motion to have other
Wow.
people, so
What a
that
circus
who can
over
get
here.
here first?
What a circus.
There are other people here
What a
in the
circus
township.
over
Apparently you're the only person
Who can
here.
get here
You just
first?
What a
complained that we
circus
didn't
over
do
here to
it,
the right.
and then stopped us from doing it.
I didn't stop you, I gave you a better alternative,
All
fella.
right, we have a motion on the table, I made a motion,
Waste
he
of
seconded,
freaking
roll
time.
call, Mr. Gallo,
Absolutely.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
How long will it take?
and then.
It's a yes or
I
no.
mean, how long will it
Well, I
take to
gotta-
do it? I
gotta
mean, we don't
yes,
know
are
from
you-
Mr. Spar.
Are you saying yes or no?
Mr. Renner, do me a favor, please. Step out of the room for a moment, Paul. Mr.
So,
Spar.
Mr. Bittler, you have a vote?
Could I hear the motion again?
I made a motion to reaffirm the removal of dead trees and limbs at Gibraltar Park, it costs $2,100. Really, as we were talking to do as soon as possible, and then he seconded.
No, that's not good enough for me, so no.
Alright, since we're in Park and Rec, Rich, you got the hometown ceiling update.
At this point in time, again, we're waiting on them for their schedule, to come back and paint those lines. As soon as we have that, we'll inform the board that it's going to be completed and give you that date,
And then in our packet, we have the,
August 26th. Tentative meeting agenda.
and we'll go back up to citizens' concerns. Anybody here have a citizens' concern? If not, we'll go to correspondence, Rich, that's been in our packet for.
It has, that's the only thing we currently have on there, and again, the deadline at the end of this month.
There's no way that that's the only correspondence, there's no way. we got correspondence from our authority solicitor going back and forth. It's, you know, before we started the meeting, gentlemen, I asked our township manager if we're sending out emails. We seem to have very few emails going out anymore. And I don't know what's happened. The communication from the office is derelict.
Specifically to things you know about that we don't?
I don't know,
Are you
I don't
assuming-
know,
are you assuming there's emails that were sent?
we're not getting, I'm not getting the emails, I know.
Then I guess we aren't either. So Rich, is there emails that aren't being sent?
You get an email from our sewer authority solicitor, which is the same firm, we'll get to the conflict of interest shortly. And we don't get copies of those. I call up Mr. Steve and I ask him, what is going on? You're an authority member. Why wouldn't this board, as the lessee of that now lease that hasn't been done in years, why wouldn't we get copies of that? Why do you refuse consistently to send copies?
Not sure.
Why do you want to take it upon yourself to decide what's relevant to send to supervisors, all supervisors, not just me? Anybody who wants to get a copy of the emails should do just that. Not to allow you to be a gatekeeper. You've been here, what, a year, if that? And you want to be gatekeeper of information?
Anything else in the correspondence, Rich?
No, sir.
All right, Sergeant Rimley.
Good evening, board. Just to touch base with the whole Abraxas thing, there was a meeting scheduled for July 29th between Robeson Township Police Department, Carnarvon Township Police Department, New Morgan Borough, and Abraxas, for future like proper protocols on how we're going to respond, who's going to be notified, so we can put it out to the public. That meeting was continued by PSP. We're still waiting on a date, but there is going to be a meeting to see, you know, what we're going to do in the future about that. So I just want to keep the board up to date on that. With the notifications to the township, Crime Watch is working properly at this point. I don't know what the problem was at that, but so there's 798 people subscribed to the page there. Okay, our police Facebook page, there's 4,700 people following our police Facebook page. So when we put that notification out there. So I did receive a price quote from Savvy Citizen. I am still waiting to hear back from Code Red. I have a meeting scheduled tomorrow around lunchtime for Code Red. They're gonna give me a price quote, hopefully. They wouldn't give it to me through email or over the phone at that point. So I'm just waiting on that to see what the best proper protocol for us is to get the information that we need to get out to the township residents. And if you guys have any questions about my recommendation for the solicitation ordinance, I know Joan said something last meeting. I know Joan's not here right now.
She just sent an update to that, which
Yeah, the draft ordinance that I have incorporates the need for a permanent applicant to have a background check.
And you thought that made sense.
Yeah, I thought it made sense. It's been past practice. Chief Castle is having everybody do that as well.
They're providing at their own cost.
They're providing their own costs, yeah, through Pennsylvania State Police. I believe the fee's $25.
It makes sense, you don't want,
Oh, for
you
sure.
don't
No,
want, you don't want the township to authorize
I
someone.
was, one of the, I thought I was going to verify.
Anything else?
In regards to notifications, I guess it's Everbright.
Everbridge, yeah.
It went live and their notifications are already coming out.
They are.
I'm not exactly sure, like the other system, how we can get access to be able to put notifications on.
So I started to look into that because it was so new and they had some hiccups. I kind of backed off and let her have some space. It would require each individual user to sign up for an Everbridge account, get their name in there, and then I believe, don't quote me, I believe as a municipality, we should be able to set up a Robeson Township alert. We can go in as the Robeson admin and add people. They can opt into a group. There's some things to work out. I think it's in there though.
That's the way the other system was,
Correct.
but nobody ever really took advantage of it. And sooner than buying another program to do the same thing, we better off piggybacking on this.
Exactly. I'm just waiting for them to work all the bugs out and I have an understanding of it, we have it functioning fully on our end, but, as far as a global end,
I mean, I got a bunch of notifications today. And the other thing is in regards to the Facebook, I don't do Facebook. I do, however, get an email every time you guys post something on crime alert.
Yeah.
Again, I mean.
Yeah, Facebook, you have to be on it in order to know what's going on.
Yeah.
The crime alert, I get told.
When we're looking at every.
And it's the same as this system here. Something happens, I'm told.
Acting Chief Remy, did you send something with all this flooding to the news? Did our police department release something? I got a call, a text actually from a constituent.
I personally do not, Mr. Vittler. I've been away training this entire week.
Do you know what the department did?
I believe there was a post made on social media, Facebook account about possible issues throughout the township. As what that is, I do not know.
If you could check that out and maybe get back to me, I'd like to receive, if the police are posting something to the news media or something, I'd like to receive a contemporaneous copy of that. Or an email, or however that was communicated. If the news media picked up something from somewhere else, okay. But if we initiate that.
If we're contacted by the news media to give a statement on.
Yeah, and you
whether
do
it's
give a
not-
statement or you do, could you just keep us in the loop?
Okay,
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Anything else? All right, sure, we got finance.
So your monthly expenses and treasury report are included for your review. As I noted here, the sewer agent report, we'll have that complete for the Board of Supervisors regular meeting. They're probably actually done on Monday the 12th, and then we will send that out from there. Obviously, we'd like that also, make sure that's up to date with the RTMA.
Rich, real
Yes.
quick before you move on the expenses,
Yes.
could you give me, at some point, probably some detail around the Technicon codes? Almost at 20,000 this month, can you, give me some
I can
detail
pull
around
that-
that, what they were?
I can pull that up.
Thank you.
Typically, the codes department, for those of you who are inclined to want to learn more about that, are pass-through expenses. We set fee schedules, and that doesn't come out of the township budget. It's supposed to be a reflection of actual reasonable cost. I'm sure that's in the eyes of the consumer, if you will, but that's not something that our code people or that the general taxpayers pay for somebody else. Also, on that note, before we get off of that, I had asked last month for a budget.
Yes, sir, and that's actually discussed right below that. Ms. McCune was off most of last week, not well, and so she was starting to work on that, and unfortunately, being out of the office is not able to complete it.
When is the last time we've had a budget, whether it be the end of January, the end of the first quarter? I've not seen any this year, and I fully can appreciate people's issues, but I've not seen a budget.
My understanding is that that is produced in August for the,
No, I'm not
January
talking about another budget, I'm talking about later in this agenda, it appears we're gonna be attempting to approve the payment for sewer line repairs. I'd like to see, when we're approving all these expenses, what in the budget, what are we ahead on, what are we behind on? It's 6 months into the year, 8 months into the year, it's not, I'm not talking about next year's budget.
Oh, yeah, but he's gonna have that for the next meeting.
Well, why don't we have that throughout the year? So at the end of the month, Chris, at the end of the month, we approve these bills or not, they get coded, they go against the budget items. Where's the budget?
Well, that's why.
reconciliation is gonna be at least 30 to 60 days behind any of that. So for us to give you an accurate reflective picture,
Well, he's
We
gonna
just
have
keep going round and round. My question is, when will we have an up-to-date budget reflecting on our current expenses, our current revenue? When will we have that?
says
So we
right
checked
here
when
in
we
the
got that
notice.
last year?
It was
And the
in
year
August of
before.
last year and the year before, so that is the standard annual, so what we do is we move it through July, and then at the end of July, we work through the reconciliation, make sure we're as close as possible, and then we produce that for you in the
So
August.
just to recap, we got it in August of last year and the previous
Yes.
year before.
And that's the problem.
Okay.
And that's
Did
the
we
problem.
ask him for one? The previous years, we got it in August.
Why?
Did we ask him to
Wouldn't
change
this-
the process?
Why
Did we-
wouldn't this
did
be
we- Did we motion to
routine?
change the
Why would this
process?
be routine?
I don't know. It hasn't been routine
I
for
think-
25 years, Tim.
Oh, okay,
When's the last time it happened? Can you name it?
okay. Okay.
When's the last time it didn't
Not
come in
since,
in
not
August?
since I've been on this board, and I've waited
Okay.
patiently for 2 years.
Exactly.
2
So,
years.
You want things changed, but you're asking for things
I
that
don't
haven't
ask, I
happened
don't
in the
ask
past.
for anything
You know,
that's not normal, legitimate.
I didn't say it wasn't
you know,
normal and legitimate, I'm just saying you're asking for something that didn't happen for the last 26 years.
Alright, so we'll
I mean,
And how long does that take to make a change?
Oh, we'll have it.
make a motion, put it on the motion, make a motion, make a change.
Well,
I
we're
mean,
getting it next,
Motion
next
quarterly
meeting.
report.
We're getting it next meeting and then going
If it was
forward-
simple, it'd be done, Mr.
Well,
Rhodes.
then going forward, you can always plug in
Simple
numbers.
and make a motion, I said.
Well,
We don't need a motion to do our finances,
No.
this is a
Well,
duty,
then ask
an
him.
absolute obligation for this township
Yeah.
to produce
Hasn't
financial
happened in
records.
26
You don't
years.
need a motion for that, you need
Okay,
common
I
sense.
guarantee it didn't happen the last time you were on the board either.
If you have it for the next meeting, then going forward, you can just.
So you
update
made
it.
some real
You can
change
just
back then
update
too,
each
didn't
month.
It would always be roughly 30 to 60 days
Yeah,
behind,
but you
because
can still-
everyone's
you can-
aware,
you can
and so your
still-
first one in any
you
budget
can
year
still
is gonna
have
be
a
at least March and
semi-up-to-date
March.
It's years and years of stuff that he's done way back when, and he's complaining about it.
Alright, Rich.
He was part of the problem.
So-
What are you referring to, Mr.
All right,
Rhodes? We're
all right,
on a
Rich.
budget.
Alright.
I happened to serve 20 years ago.
Yeah, did
That's
you change it back then
exactly
to
right.
get a quarterly
And when you
budget?
see what a
No.
disaster this is
You
now.
didn't. You
when
didn't make the
see
change
what a
20 years ago, did you?
disaster, An
No.
absolute disaster this is.
You're a
Rich,
disaster.
Alright, Rich, F.
Okay. And then the
Well,
last
hang on,
one,
we have a
just
comment
just
back
for
there.
again,
I just wanted to say that when I was on the board, we typically got it in June to see where we were at versus where we're going. And then we started the process again in August to finish, so you can finish out the year. So it's not something new, asking for it in June or July, it's just good practice.
so you're looking at the reconciliation though in
Right.
August, so you get a picture, a snapshot, but it's an inaccurate
So you don't
snapshot in the
really
June timeframe. Understood?
Alright, so we got you.
Well, we didn't get that since I've been
Alright, so we got.
So what are we doing now?
Well,
So we don't do
no,
this
no,
again
no,
next
no,
month?
we're just gonna, he's gonna have stuff at the next meeting and then.
And
So
then
on
going
that next
forward,
meeting,
going
then we can-
forward, is it monthly, bi-monthly,
We
semi-annual?
can just update
August?
things monthly. We'll have it-
February
I would think we
30th.
could probably continue a rolling month, just understanding again that the reconciliation is gonna be a month to 2 months behind because of the way that.
So he has direction to know what is expected.
Yeah.
Clearly, so we don't keep
Yes.
spinning our wheels.
So for your August meeting, I think you'd wanna, and again, we're not gonna have a motion at this point to advertise those, but we do need to have some thoughts for you to look at your sketches between now and the August 20th meeting, to come up with some meeting dates and then to advertise those dates. So, we just wanna be prepared for that on August 20th.
Alright, you got manager's comments.
Alright, so with the progress report on Seifert and Killian, they have actually conducted all the lining up there at this point in time. We do have a payment in there, and if you look at that, we currently have it under sewer, it's for $64,974. And really what we're looking for is discussion as to whether or not that comes from the RTMA and or the general fund. So looking for your guidance as to what we wanna do, and then we'll execute from there.
You're talking about the sewer repair,
Talking about the lining, yes, sir.
the $70,000,
64,974, yes, sir.
64,000. What does the lease agreement say that we have about who pays for what? We have a lease agreement, folks, that is not been updated in 2 years. It's been expired. What does the lease agreement say?
Well, I think-
Go ahead.
I think, can I chime in, and, because I get two thoughts on this. One is, in essence, the lease agreement says, if you want the sewer authority to pay for this, you have to send a letter by the chairman or the vice chair to the sewer authority, along with a resolution requesting them to pay this. The other thing about this is, the township has been taking $10,000 a year out of the sewer fund. And, they're only authorized to take $2,800. So what did they do with the other $7,200 all these for the last 15 years? And which would more than cover this. So like I said, two change of thoughts. I personally don't have an issue with either way it goes, other than if we're gonna get the sewer authority to pay for it, we should do the paperwork the way it's supposed to be done.
Well, it requires a resolution from this board. I'm reading from the recorded lease, the expired recorded lease.
Well, I would think since we started the process and the complaint started here,
So-
fund, the general fund.
So
pays for
which
it, because
fund do we pay it out of?
General fund, but
Well-
that's the thing, that's my opinion, because we started here, we made the motions for everything to start. They did their thing, sure, we got updates at the municipal authority meetings, but still, it started here, when a couple of the citizens were here. And then, of course, you got engineered and everything, and they.
I don't think the general fund would be appropriate, and apparently we've had weigh in from our solicitor. Has Joan sent emails to the authority? Maybe you could pull her emails out.
That email was about as clear as Mississippi Creek.
Well, that's why, yeah, and Sean Keith's wasn't any clearer either. I didn't think, do you think Keith's was any clearer?
How does your firm represent both the lessee and the lessor in the transaction when we're deciding who's paying for it? How's that work?
So if there's a conflict, the parties can sign waivers.
Well, nobody signed a waiver here to my knowledge. In fact, I've asked for our own counsel
Are we
on this lease.
Are we currently negotiating a new lease?
Yeah. There's a draft lease, and regardless of that, you're currently saying, albeit cryptic, you're currently vague or whatever you wanna say, you're currently giving advice where this stuff's paid from. You gotta be kidding me.
No, I don't know where mine is. Well, what's the discussion?
It's another example of the emails that are partial people, yes. I think it's funny.
You getting clarity out of that email?
Well, I don't know where it is right this second. I mean, I'm looking at some of her emails, but the last one I think was, I don't know where that one went, because I got the Norfolk Southern thing she sent us at the last meeting. And then solicitation ordinance and stuff, but so I don't know what that is. I thought it was, unless it's further back than I think. I'm not looking for it. Maybe any other,
I don't remember seeing it.
well, she just sent it to the authority.
Why would that be? Is there some way your firm can send copies of emails to us too?
Not if it's in our representation of the authority.
Well, you're representing this board. Last month when Joan's sitting here, she instantly sends us a copy of Norfolk Southern. It can be done. We just don't wanna do it. Jeff, you wanna say about I was on the board before, and you wanna say about you heard this before, and you heard that before. I have repeatedly and consistently said, why don't any supervisor who wants to get the information get it? Be sent to it. I'm not gonna allow our manager or our solicitor to be the gatekeepers of information, and we come into this meeting now wanting to spend $64,000 or whatever, guessing which account it comes from. It's nonsense.
If the board would like Kozloff staff to recuse itself in any lease negotiation, we're happy to do that.
Joan did say she would seek, other counsel.
Outside
counsel. Where does that stand?
Conflict counsel.
Where does that stand, Mr. Steve, if you know?
What's that?
Where does that stand?
I have no idea.
So is she representing the authority or this board?
Well, in regards to the lease, nothing's being done right now until conflict counsel's been assigned.
Lease, folks, was for 35 years last time. It's not something that you take into lightly. It's something that goes on a long time after us. Mostly.
Just so that everybody's aware, the Robeson Township Sewer Fund does have slightly over $1 million in that.
So rather than our general fund, why don't they pay for it?
Which is to be used for sewer maintenance, absent a lease agreement that passes on certain costs to the authority. I'm telling you that as a township solicitor.
I'm not sure I understood
Well,
that.
here's
There
the-
is a lease, but it's expired. So who do you think should pay for the $64,000?
So there's a month-to-month lease. Okay, and as I just said, the sewer authority fund is to maintain and repair sewer lines.
Yeah.
And the like.
Yeah.
Absent a clear provision in the lease that passes on a
I
cost
found the email. Do you want
to
me
the
to-
authority, the township would be obligated to pay.
So wait a second, fellas, before we get into that, our lease talks about a sewer revenue account and an industrial cost recovery account. Can you tell me how much is in those accounts?
Can I
Because that's
can I
a-
quick summarize Joan's email?
Well, I'd really rather,
Well, I can.
I mean, I don't wanna rely on somebody's
Well,
summarization.
she more or less.
Well, please, a summary is fine, I would not disclose the exact contents.
Well, it just says that there's a definition of extraordinary repairs, which more or less this whole thing is defined as extraordinary repairs. And then if it's an extraordinary repair definition, it's under the sewage authority more or less.
Right, but there's a process to get there.
Yes.
But the township is responsible for maintaining the lines, according to the lease.
I mean, I have the lease here. I've,
Well, what's everybody else's fault? I mean, I don't make a decision tonight, but obviously we have to pay it, so.
what kind of interest do we incur if we don't pay it? Do you have a copy of that bill?
Not so. I don't have interest.
I'm just guessing, but I think technically it's like 18%. And the other thing is I wouldn't want to cause ill will towards one of our valued contractors by stepping them on a couple of months' payment. Like, is there any reason we can't, like, get the ball rolling with the request and a resolution to add to the money? That may.
So say Mr. Steve's correct, we could always put together a resolution for next meeting, we have a week and a half between. So we can put that resolution together from the board, to make payment to Mr. Rehab for the line of the sewer.
And I believe the RTMA doesn't meet till the 19th,
Correct.
so you would have to.
Due date's the 23rd.
Because if you do a resolution where we're saying they pay it, then we don't do a contract. Then the next meeting is not until September. And they're always right to pay before us. Well, if it's believe everybody that we want to start that process now, we'll make a motion for us to deal with the authorities pay for it, and then do the paperwork, and then have hopefully that ready for, August 20th meeting. Anybody want to do that?
I guess the other thing is with the money that the township's drafting off the sewer authority, for this stuff, I've never seen it in the budget even when I sat on the board. Somehow or another that should be captured in the budget, you guys should take it in 10 grand and where it's going. Because this would have been ideal, wouldn't have been in question, you would already had the money and just paid for it.
Okay, does anybody want to start a process today? Because we really probably should.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to start that process.
For, do the paperwork to the, or TMA to pay for it.
So you made a motion for a resolution. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct, yes.
Pursuant to our now month-to-month contract to have the sewer authority pay.
Yes. For Mr. Rehab.
Yeah, under that extraordinary
Extraordinary.
repair clause.
Alright, so we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll do that. Second.
No, we have a second. Roll call, Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
I vote yes. Alright, Rich, we got C.
All right, just want to give everybody an update, we're working through our personnel evaluations and expect a September completion.
Who's sitting in on the evaluations? Which supervisor?
See you on that.
Yeah. Who's sitting in on the personnel evaluations? Is there a supervisor sitting in on it?
Never had anyone sit before in previous
You've
experience.
been in this job 1 year. I'm asking if a supervisor is involved
No, sir.
with those evaluations.
And I see your audit report also will be ready for the August 20th meeting. Fire companies, I guess they'll be here for the next meeting. And business expenses reports for the next meeting.
And we did receive yours.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
the
sorry,
early workshop
that's-
meeting is difficult with closing months.
Yes, it was tight.
Alright, engineering. Good evening.
evening, Board. In my report, which was distributed to you, we have two MPC time extension requests. They both pertain to the Chestnut Hill project. This is the non-residential industrial project up off of Chestnut Hill Road. And one is for the actual subdivision itself, which creates, I believe, 7 industrial lots off of a cul-de-sac street, which is intended not to be dedicated. And the second is for the first lot within that development, which would be lot 1. They're requesting a MPC time extension to December 12th, 2024. So that's up to you if you'd like to take action on that this evening, or you want to look over it and consider it till the regular meeting. That's either way.
I'll make a motion to get out of the way, we'll just extend the time extension for the Chestnut subdivision, you said December 12th?
Correct.
2024.
Yep.
I'll second. Roll call, Mr. Gallow. Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Thank you. There was a pre-construction meeting held today with H&K for our paving project. That schedule, which is tentative, they intend to start the end of the second or beginning of the third week of September. Obviously, that's weather pending. Looking outside, they obviously lost the last 2 days, and probably more to come. However, that's when they think they can fit us in, and that works with my understanding the road crew scheduled to get their base repair done as well. The intention is to begin on Hopewell, move to Mounts, and finish up on Proudfoot Drive. We will be meeting with them before they start to walk the roads, go over limits, go over specialty things that both Barry and I have noticed, in advance of paving. So more will come on that, but generally we're looking at the third week in September for paving. There were 2 items that came up during the course of the last meeting or 2. The first one is, and I've received texts and phone calls about this as well, the signals on 724 coming through town here. I think our first step here, and what I would like to do, is contact the township's signal service provider, which is Telco, have them go out, look at these signals, make sure they're operating in accordance with the approved signal diagrams. If they are not, then they would make those repairs, obviously at a cost to the township. If they are, then there is some leeway, I'll say, for us to make what I would say minor timing adjustments, okay? We can't venture too far off of the approved diagram without PennDOT approval. So I think step 1 is, are they operating correctly? And then step 2 is, if they are, what do we do next? So I'd like to get that ball rolling. I don't know if that would require specific authorization from the board. Okay, if it does, I'd see that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we let Engineer Road approach that signal timing, like clearly myself seeing the issue. I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mr. Gallow. Oh,
Yes.
hold on.
We have a problem with those boxes only because there's no way to plug in a generator.
Right.
Could you kind of get a price for that while you're?
We can. I think that also requires a change to our approved signal diagram, but I will verify that and we will ask them for a construction.
Because, I mean, they went out one day to, with a generator and don't play to plug it in themselves.
If this ends up, if this project ends up changing signal timing, that would be the time to certainly put your approach. Yeah.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Finally, I know we've been working on speeding and pedestrian safety on Old River Road. Have the ordinance for the reduced speed limit was put up. I didn't drive it today, Barry, and I forgot to ask for that. Are the new speed limit signs up?
They are not.
Okay. Okay. So with respect to some of that discussion, what I would like to do is we'll coordinate getting those signs up. I know these guys are busy right now, but I think everything's in place to do that. So let's get those signs up, get them properly signed. I know we had discussed some ways to handle that before. Let's get those in place, and then I'd like to visit. I know Mr. Steve had brought up traffic calming. I'd like to kind of explore that a little bit. I don't know that we're quite ready yet. I'd like to get the new speed limit signs up, but maybe keep you guys in the loop here as we
You
move
said
forward.
other municipalities have done that already, you worked with the traffic.
So I'm gonna say none with any great level of success. So what I'd like to do is get the proper signs up, right, that we've approved and had use, the reduced speed limit. And then probably reach out again to LTAP, who offered us some technical assistance on the White Bear Road issue. And that's a free service to the township, and start exploring, you know, what pedestrian improvement, traffic calming improvements would make sense for there.
I mean, because this is not just for there, this would be for other places that people are.
Yeah, could be.
You said before, I mean, if you said you were in Europe and then, you know, you see, they do a lot bigger scope than just the whole.
Yeah, but it's not one size fits all.
Right.
You know, in this case, I think it would, speed humps, I don't think are effective, because these guys gotta plow it and they just, but, and the one I gave him was, in essence, close one lane for about 100 feet and put a stop sign in the other end, so everybody's gotta stop to go through.
Yeah, I've seen, I looked it up, I mean, you see pictures in Europe of all the different things they've done, stuff
Right,
like that.
there's someone put median strips in the center that kind of force you to the edge of the road.
They put plantings in the center now or something, and now you can't do a long turn or something, and.
Actually, each of those, a big project over in Robeson a number of years ago was 23 traffic calming.
And each of those would require essentially an engineering study and be site specific, okay? So I think the first thing that we're gonna get back from anybody is you don't have it signed properly, right? So we're in the process of doing that, let's finish that. And then we're gonna keep revisiting this. So it's gonna be an ongoing item in my reports and on the agenda as well. So if questions come up, feel free to reach out, but it's something that we're aware of and we're gonna keep working on. Okay?
Anything else?
Unless you have other questions for me, that's all I have for you to say.
No.
All right, we'll get back to the solicitation ordinance.
Good evening, board members. I have one topic for consideration tonight, which is authorization to advertise the amended solicitation ordinance for September's meeting.
Any comments on that, for those advertising the solicitation ordinance for approval in September? The main thing was, I thought, was the whole background check.
The whole thing was what, Chris?
No,
I'm
about
sorry.
the background check, that was one of the main things.
The main thing for me was the police department's ability to perform, and I had some questions on that, whether it would be better to do in-house. It's not necessarily, a critique per se, but we've left those signs go in disrepair, it's taken whatever to get them up. I've had to take pictures, that was a year ago. I think perhaps we should have someone in-house do that, not the police. It's my own opinion. And that can be from an in-house code person, that can be a number of ways. Mr. Remy, one of the functions that I had an issue with, and I discussed it with Chief Castle, was the police doing functions that were not police functions. Civil service of papers for terminated employees. You were at a termination process, were you not?
I was.
Okay, that was after hours. Were you in uniform?
All right, we're talking about the solicitation.
No, we're talking about the police's ability to do the work.
But we're still talking about solicitation.
Right. And I'm asking him whether he was present at a termination, and you said you were.
I was.
Okay, and that was after, and at whose request were you there?
We went over this, how many times?
No, we didn't go over.
Yes, we did.
We did not go over.
Alright, well,
We
let
wanna
I'm
hush
being with
things
you.
under the
You
rug,
just keep
and I wanna
bringing
see
it
that the
up.
police are doing their
It
job.
was explained to you by Chief Castle multiple times.
No, it
Now
was
you're
never
not going on
explained.
him 'cause
I
Castle's
would
not
like to
here.
know why
It was
our
explained.
officer, and
Let's
if that's
not
gonna
on this
continue,
topic.
and if that's gonna continue. Would you recommend your officers doing that, or would you do that again?
Meaning what?
Meaning attend at what amounts to be a civil termination.
I think it is common practice that a chief of police or a supervisor is at a termination if requested by a member of the board.
So who requested that?
All right, we're gonna get back to the solicitation ordinance, because your concerns were.
The concerns are the police are not functioning, they're doing policy things and other things that are not enforcement. If they're doing that, how are they gonna do this ordinance?
You voiced your concern, now we move on.
So the question is, do we wanna make tonight, do we make a motion, or are we gonna tweak some things? Or we wanna make a motion on the 20th? You know, so if anybody wants to make a motion to, you know, for this solicitation ordinance be advertised for potential, adoption.
September general meeting.
Anyone like to make a motion for that?
I'm happy with the wording now. I'll make the motion.
We got a second?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mr. Gallow? Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. Bitler?
Vote no.
Yeah. Alright, and anything else?
Nothing else to report.
Alright, thank you very much. Alright, Public Works.
Good evening, board. Real quick, Dave Spar did get back to me, the earliest he could get here would be Tuesday of next week,
13th.
the 13th. Well, Tuesday of this week coming up.
Right.
13th.
The road crew can't take that tree down?
You can, it's gonna be, it's gonna be a lot more intrusive if we do it rather than him.
Intrusive meaning it'll tear up the ground or something?
Muddy mess with all this rain. We're looking at
Liability, we don't have the.
probably a day or two that we're gonna lose out with milling and patching on Hopewell. That's turning out to be quite a project.
Harold, you have a,
Is there a power line going down through there?
maybe I don't,
Not there, not at that tree. If it's dropped properly.
Well, again, I would suggest that with the terminology of dropping it properly, I'd recommend that we stick with our motion and have Dave Spar do that. They are the experts in that business. And I do agree there's a liability issue there as well. And again, we are working through the milling and patching, which has been more challenging than we had expected out of Oakwood. So to finish that project, it takes priority out there for our public works team. With your group.
And I think the whole thing was botched.
anything else, Barry? What's going on with anything?
No, we're just continuing the mill and patch. After we are done with Hopewell, which I'm hoping to be done there in the next 3 days, weather pending, we are moving to Mounts. From Mounts, we are moving to Proudfoot.
Barry, here's a picture, if you're done, here's a picture of the municipal dumpster, not the recycling one. And it's full, that was yesterday, maybe before. It's full of recyclables. Do you have any idea how that's getting into the waste stream and not getting into the proper place?
Which is a dumpster back here?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Well, it doesn't appear to be ordinary citizens' trash. Maybe you wanna investigate that with, our people. We have an environmental advisory council that apparently, while well-intentioned, I don't see us heading in the right direction on something that is simple. This was also addressed with Chief Gossett.
How do we know where that trash
Well, first
came
off
from?
with this.
My guess is,
We've said this multiple times. Pretty much everything that any citizen puts in that recycle bin makes it trash. Because that makes anything trash, because you're not supposed to put stuff in bags. You're not supposed to put, pizza boxes in. You're not supposed to put, so if you ever look in the recycle bin.
I do, regularly.
And most of the time, most of the things that people do make it immediately trash. And we've talked about that before. How do you police some of this stuff?
I'm not interested in what those recyclables are now. I'm interested in what's in the municipal dumpster. These are clearly recyclable. Aluminum cans and
Well,
plastic
that could
are
have
clearly
been, that could have
recyclable.
been them, that could have been.
My
citizens.
guess is, and I don't know, why don't you see who empties the trash,
My guess would
particularly
be,
at the parks?
my guess would be a citizen saw the recycle thing was full and
Where,
threw it in that.
where was this picture taken?
In the dumpster, it's a picture of our
This-
dumpster, yeah,
this
our
one-
municipal dumpster, not the recycling ones. So my guess is
The
that,
park trash goes to the park dumpster, and the trash that we accumulate goes to the dumpster.
so,
Outside the facility, outside of the.
so we don't know.
So we have a
I'm not sure
24/7
how you-
monitor dumpster.
I wouldn't know
I
how
know,
you.
nobody, I mean, yeah, we all drink water, but there's Monster there, none of us drink Monster. I don't know who's
What do you
throwing
see back there?
trash away to where.
So like I said, our cleaning guy, he cleans our trash out. I don't know where he puts it. I've never watched it.
We had the discussion with Chief Castle that he implemented a recycling program
did.
within,
It's
and
in the
that's,
kitchen.
that's still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
Okay.
And what I can do is I'll get a couple blue bins and we'll start throwing water bottles in the blue bins. I mean, cause right now, I'm gonna be honest with you, they go into the dumpster at our shop, but none of our trash makes it down here.
I can tell you there's a lot of residents who use that facility out there. I mean, it's constant, all through the day, all through the night. We don't keep track of who cars that come up, there's just so many of them.
Unless dumping a very large and illegal item, which we've had one time, I believe.
Yeah, mattress.
We had to take care of.
Alright, anything else, Barry?
No, that's it.
Well, we did park and recs, alright, Rich, EAC.
Okay, in your package, copy of the approved minutes from June and July. And then the last thing I have on there is I'd like to request a motion from the board to approve a budget no more than $1,500 for shrubbery and plants on the township side outside of the municipal building. They were putting in, last weekend, the weekend before, I'm sorry, I can't quite remember, they put in some mulch out there around that sign. We did leave space around this end of the sign so that if we are able to put in a new one at some point in time, we can access that much more easily. But what they're looking for here is for essentially native plants and shrubbery. They had a $2,000 budget for the year. They spent $300 earlier this year on hawk as part of their springtime program, which was out here in conjunction with Union Township et al. And so they still have $1,700 in the budget. They'd like to use $1,500 of that, again, for shrubbery and plants around the sign there. No more
You're
than,
talking about the sign out front here.
yes, sir.
Who maintains that then?
Well, again, native plants, these would be plants that would essentially, because they're native plants, will grow up around that sign and we would maintain those to an extent.
So we would.
Yes,
That's debatable, we've talked about that in meetings, that, you know, if some citizens start to do it, would the EAC do it? Cause it's obviously not a big, flower bed, it doesn't take long. Go ahead, Al.
I was offering to do it. What's that?
congratulations.
You're offering to maintain that?
Congratulations, it's yours.
Well, you know, I just wanted to say that when we did the re-landscape the township building up at Boomtown Road, it cost nothing for the township, all we got everything donated.
Well, they're trying to get costs of stuff, but it's not gonna be 1,500, I shouldn't.
They had a little kind of, you don't have enough space to put $1,500.
No, that's why it's not gonna be.
Unless you're buying exotic plants.
No. But that's what they wanted, that's what they're looking for. That would not be 1,500.
But I'm also thinking most of the native flowers and stuff will drown out the sign.
What?
Oh, drown out the sign, you won't be able to see this.
No, Anne Marie, the one member of the EAC, she came up with a master list, it's all short stuff. I think the tallest thing might be 2 feet or something.
Low profile.
Yes.
Yes, low profile, and the most tallest things up in the back, so that will hide any base of the signs out there.
Yeah, it was all low plans. Tony, I'd like to make a motion for that tonight, or would you like to wait till August 20th? Let me get it out of the way.
I'll make a motion to approve the $1,500, up to $1,500, hopefully lasts for the strawberry on the township sign.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mr. Galvin,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler.
Yes.
I vote yes. Alright, well, for new business, sorry to do this when we started, just want to announce that unfortunately another former manager passed away since the last meeting, coming Easter Day, just to let everybody know. If anyone has any questions about anything, you can go to Rich, for any services, so. just wanted to announce that.
Right now, we don't have any further details on this time.
So I forgot to mention that earlier, but I'll mention it now, so anything else for old business, Rich?
No, so I'm gonna actually put the meeting links and Pam's here also for discussion from the 2025 budget.
Alright, I guess, we need to go to executive, correct?
I don't have anything to discuss in executive session tonight. I would defer to the general.
Sergeant Ruby, do you have anything? Anybody?
I do not.
You have nothing?
No updates.
Alright, well. If there's nothing else, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn at 8 o'clock?
I prefer we don't adjourn and keep the meeting open if you're going to have additional items. I'm a no to adjourning, we can adjourn the meeting when everything's done.
What else is there?
whatever you're going to do in item Roman numeral 18.
Oh, there's, do they need to sign it right now? You
No,
have,
we don't have anything to sign.
and there's no bills except there's nothing no bills to sign,
Correct.
so there's nothing else to do, right?
Correct. Ordinance 24-03.
Well, then there's nothing else to do, so now, if there's nothing, well, it's still 8 o'clock, oh, now it's 8:01, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 8:01.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. It said somebody called, 911, and said, why is this miscellaneous fire? How is that miscellaneous fire? Other people said, dispatches. You know, there was,
I did. And then
I hear this, and I said, I want to make it. And then they called.
Alright, guys. Take care, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I understand why it goes out. I assume maybe somebody might have been cancelled out or something.
I did speak.
But, you know, she did say,
Now we'll step over here, please, and think I can
Take all your wood chips back? Bring them back,
Thank you.
Even nice few days off.
You want the extra bag for Joy, or I don't wanna leave it there.
I'll try to take, well, actually, I don't want to take that,
Sure.
I'm gonna give this back, this is Joy's, the extra packet, so I'll just, thank you.
Anything else to add, young lady?
Me? No, nothing.
Nothing. Okay, then we'll wrap it up.
Alright, thank you, have a nice evening.
You too.